Good morning. Welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Friday, TGIF, May the 8th, and we're here to look at the rest of the cozy mysteries that were published this week, the new releases, and start the morning off with some good news. Books. Books are always good news. Cajun said, "Morning, PK and everyone. Hello. I've had a productive morning so far. What Victoria Reed in UK had sprints earlier, and I finished my book. Congratulations. Yay, congratulations. Woo, good job." And she says, morning, that was Cajun. And Mary says, "Good morning, PK, Cajun, everyone. Happy Friday. This new month is going fast." I know, impressive, Cajun. Wish I could get into reading schedule rather than catch as catch can. Cajun is able to be visible today because she has a day off. She's having a 3-day weekend. Congratulations. Isn't it neat that we can have like sprints across the globe? So we can sprint. You can read whenever you want to. I love that. And I love that you have a 3-day weekend. Mary, did you guys get rain? Any rain? And when's your next show? I did a thing last evening during sprints. You know how sometimes you're kind of scrolling and you're not looking, but something shows up that was like you're meant to find it? You know, the universe working that way. So I was scrolling and came across a book subscription thingy. I know I don't usually like those, but this was different. This is through Logos Publishing, and they do a philosophical classical work in beautiful binding once a month with a booklet of information along with to help you understand it. And so it's kind of slow reading classic philosophical work. And you can do monthly or annually. I did monthly just to give it a try. And it says sometimes when they go to the original source, like on page 1 is like the original Greek or Latin, and then on the other facing page is in English, so you can kind of see both. And so I was kind of intrigued. Katie said, "Yes, someone from Australia was in sprints. She was ending her day. I was starting mine, and those in the UK were almost a day." I love that. Readers unite. So let's just look at the rest of the cozies. And as usual, I have my crochet coffee mug. So I'm hoping to really slow read, dive deep. All right, I believe we were here, because I know I did not say that name. Moonlight Murder by Uzma Jalaluddin. Second in the Detective Auntie series. When Khasar Khan, and I apologize if I'm saying it wrong, moved back to Toronto to be closer to her family, she didn't expect to have another murder investigation on her hands so soon, or really ever. But when a young man named Kasim is found dead in their Golden Crescent neighborhood, and when she learns he was close to her granddaughter Malia, what's a grandmother to do but try and solve the case? And it's not just her heartbroken granddaughter spurring Khasar to find answers, it's also how the circumstances of Kasim's death remind her of her own teenage son Ali and his mysterious death nearly 20 years before. Khasar knows firsthand what a difference closure can make to a grieving parent, and the more she seeks to find that for Kasim's parents, the more she begins to realize that perhaps it's time she finds closure for herself as well. As Khasar digs into both Kasim's and Ali's cases and her auntie skills continue to bring more information to light, she can't help but wonder if the similarities between the two cases are more than just mere coincidence. But how could two deaths, 20 years apart, possibly be related? Detective Auntie is determined to find out. That's a pretty blue on there. Once again, I apologize for mangling names. I do a scream and leap and hope for the best. Mary says, "Rain, there was a mere suggestion of it." Nothing measurable. Next show is in June. Okay. Cajun, too funny. My current audio is the first Detective Auntie. Oh, cool. Enjoying it so far. Awesome. And Cajun, you are saying the names that they do in the book. Thank God. Thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. Murder at the Blackwell Estate by Harper Burton, 5th in the Windermere Cove Cozy Mysteries. Vivian Blackwell ran Crescent Moon Estate like a kingdom. Magnificent, ruthless, impossible to leave without her permission. Permission denied. Izzy Harper came to choose the wine. Vivian chose everything else. By morning, Vivian was dead in her sunroom, tea still warm in her hand. It must have been really hot. No phone signal, no car, no way out. Shadows had been following Izzy since she came to Windermere Cove. At Blackwell Estate, they finally caught up. Noodle led her to the ransacked room. I hope that's a dog. The safe was empty. The room wasn't. Someone in this estate had been waiting for this. Now a killer is somewhere inside these walls, and Izzy is the only one asking the right questions. She isn't just solving a murder. She's locked inside one. Dun, dun, dun. A Zoom with a View by Jess Cannon. Leo can't believe she's back in Blue Oak. Her small, quirky Texas hometown feels suffocating after trying to make it big as an English professor in New York, especially due to her strained relationship with her overly hairsprayed mother, Karina. But with Leo's career in academia in shambles, at least she's able to work as a photographer for her godmother's real estate business, and her best friend Emily is around to help her navigate through the mess, and maybe force her to reconnect with her old high school boyfriend, Mac. But while at work, Leo makes a grisly discovery at one of her godmother's properties, the dead body of rival real estate agent and social media influencer, Chaz. Of course he's named Chaz. Even worse, Leo and Emily have been secretly running a snarky Reddit page making fun of Chaz's cringe-inducing advice and duck-faced selfies. When someone she loves is accused of the murder, Leo finds herself flung headfirst into a dangerous investigation, teaming up with a local detective who is a lot more attractive than she remembered when they were both teenagers. Meanwhile, Karina has been acting stranger and stranger, as if all her hair hides a big secret. This is the introduction to a new series. End of that row. Murder at the Mermaid's Bargain Inn. Alice is the author, 4th in the Haunted Echo Point Cozy Mysteries. When bookstore owner Luna Brooke accepts a rare book appraisal at the historic Mermaid's Bargain Inn, she expects creaking floors, salt-stained journals, and the usual small-town secrets. She doesn't expect a violent storm that traps the guest inside, or a hollowed atlas concealing a decades-old ledger. By morning, a body lies broken on the rocks below the cliffs. The locals call it an accident. Luna knows better. As rumors ripple through Echo Point, another death follows. Luna uncovers the truth behind an old maritime pact, known only as the Bargain, capital B. A shadowy agreement that demanded silence, obedience, and payment in blood. But the deeper she digs, the more the bargain feels like a forgotten chapter, and more like a foundation stone of Echo Point itself. Names in the ledger echo others she's seen before. Dates align too perfectly with tragedies long dismissed, and the town's past seems to be surfacing, tied by relentless tide. And I believe the cat talks. And there's a ghost. Okay. Everything Must Go by Shelley Marsh, 3rd in the Estate Sales Mysteries. Emma Stewart and her best friend Laura finally land a new client, but this one comes with strings attached. Claire Weston wants to liquidate her high-end belongings quietly. No open house, no curious neighbors, and absolutely no gossip about why a wealthy widow suddenly needs cash. Emma isn't convinced. Claire's husband disappeared during a solo dive in one of Florida's most dangerous underwater caves. No body, no death certificate, no insurance payout, and now Claire is in a hurry to sell everything she owns. That's not suspicious at all. As Emma juggles a complicated off-site sale, a charming and distracting boyfriend, and a neighborhood plagued by break-ins, she can't shake the feeling that something bigger is going on. Because when a client is hiding this much, it's only a matter of time before the truth surfaces. And when it does, Emma might wish she stayed out of it. Well, you had a choice. You wouldn't have a book, but you had a choice. Oh, these fame-seeking main characters. But I want to be in my own book. A Bookish Disappearance by Anthea Fraser, 7th in the Chiltern Hills Mysteries. Meet Rona Parrish, a feisty biographer with a talent for digging up murder and mystery wherever she goes, and Gus, the adorable golden retriever trotting loyally at her heels. There's nothing so worrisome as a wayward sister. Rona knows that from bitter experience and many a sleepless night. When she gets a call from the sister of artist Elspeth Wilding, begging her to investigate Elspeth's sudden disappearance, Rona can't help but be drawn in. Headstrong Elspeth's always been a law unto herself. Now she's vanished from her remote village, leaving her latest masterpiece half finished on the easel, and her sister desperate for answers. But not everyone is sorry Elspeth's gone. Elspeth drove her best and only friend to throw herself under a train. Really, what a good friend. No one seems to have a good word to say about the missing woman. When a dead body is found in Elspeth's abandoned studio, a disturbing new picture begins to emerge. Can Rona get to the bottom of it all before the killer returns to add the final brushstroke? Oh, they had to do it. They had to go there. Bites and Bad Blood by Sue Hollowell, 16th in the Bell Harbor Cozy Mysteries. Bell Harbor's brand new Bands and Bites Festival, that sounds fun, was supposed to be the event of the summer. Live music on the beach, incredible food, and the kind of small town magic that keeps people coming back year after year. Then the promoter showed up. Slick, charming, and full of promises that sound just a little too good to be true. He's got half the town starstruck and the other half suspicious. Sponsorship deals are flying, contracts are getting shoved across the tables, and those VIP wristbands, they're starting to feel less like perks and more like warning labels. Tilly doesn't have time for any of it. She's got a brownie tower that defies the laws of physics, a coffee line out the door, and a grandmother's legacy she'll protect with everything she's got. But when the festival's backstage drama turns deadly, Tilly realizes the most dangerous thing at the party isn't the summer heat, it's the person running the show. Now she'll have to sift real opportunities from poison deals, figure out who's playing the town and who's playing for keeps, and do it all before someone else gets burned. End of that road. Oh dear. We're running out of time. Pride and Poltergeist by Maggie March, 6th in the Grumpy Ghost series. Speaking of Pride and Prejudice, I watched the first 3 episodes of The Other Bennett Sister on Amazon, BritBox, and it was very good. For Richard Lockwood, former Scotland Yard detective, I guess we need the first. It's a truth universally acknowledged that a grumpy Victorian ghost in possession of a haunted mansion only wants to be left alone. For Richard Lockwood, former Scotland Yard detective, that changed the moment Anna MacGuffin walked through his door. Months of solving crimes together have turned reluctant roommates into something more. How? Witty banter, lingering looks, undeniable chemistry. How? And one very inconvenient obstacle, he's dead. She's not. Anna and Richard's fledgling romance is forced to a backseat when Professor Ridley, the manor's former tenant, appears as a ghost with unfinished business. 20 years of stubborn pride kept him from apologizing to Eleanor Bennett, the flower shop owner he loved and lost. Now he needs Anna to find his hidden will before his scheming nephew takes everything and robs Eleanor of her inheritance. It sounds straightforward. Help a lovelorn ghost find a missing will, thwart a greedy nephew. But someone wants that fortune badly enough to kill for it. As Anna, Richard, and Daisy close in on the truth, a killer closes in on them. The Proof is in the Banana Pudding by Addison Moore, 56th in the Murder in the Mix. How many pages is this? 274 pages. Good for her. My name is Lottie Lemon, and I see dead people. Okay, so I rarely see dead people. Mostly I see furry creatures of the dearly departed variety who have come back from the other side to warn me of their previous owner's impending doom. Don't do that. This time, a ghostly peacock has me strutting straight into danger and looking fabulous while doing it. When the daughters of Honey Hollow declare a week-long 1950s reenactment culminating in a Mother's Day garden party, I'm ready to showcase my signature banana pudding and maybe win the Golden Whisk, as we all covet. With twin babies strapped to my chest and a somewhat bossy 2-year-old in tow, what could go wrong at a vintage-themed celebration? Of course, when the chairwoman of the daughters ends up dead with a commemorative cast iron skillet knocked over her perfectly coiffed head, I realize someone just turned Honey Hollow's Mother's Day celebration into a murder investigation. Between embezzlement scandals, secret affairs, and enough blackmail to fill a vintage hat box, half the organization had motive to kill the queen bee. The Body That Floats by Jane Chard. Does that mean she's a witch, or does that mean she's not a witch? This is second in the Julia and Frankie Mysteries series. Two retired sisters, one dead body. Julia, a retired head teacher with a fondness for order, and her half-sister Frankie, who believes that rules are more like vague suggestions, are back, this time in the picturesque Cornish village of Portcaso. Their morning swim off Tatum's beach is rudely interrupted by a floating corpse. The police declare the death accidental, but the sisters have other ideas. Soon they're knee-deep in smugglers' tunnels, taking a bumpy ride in the back of a builder's van, and facing down a gun-toting local with questionable fashion choices. Can the sisters keep their heads above water long enough to uncover the truth, or will the killer make sure they sink without a trace? A Lesson in Secrets by Sarah Ray Drake and C.J. Bellevue. First, in the Lessons in Murder, The Ridge Mysteries. Brooke Mackenzie came home to start over, not to solve a decades-old murder. After leaving her career behind, Brooke returns to Darcy Ridge to follow in her late mother's footsteps as a substitute teacher. She's hoping for a fresh start, not a haunted house, a ghostly gramophone, and a 12-year-old conspiracy theorist who insists her missing sister is still around. But when strange things begin happening in the school's long-abandoned home ec room, flickering lights, phantom recipes, and a ghost desperate to be heard, Brooke finds herself pulled into a mystery no one else wants to touch. Then a PTA potluck turns dangerous. When a beloved staff member is poisoned and Brooke's dish is to blame, she becomes the prime suspect in a crime she didn't commit. With her reputation on the line and whispers of the past growing louder, Brooke must untangle a decades-old cover-up buried deep within the school's history before she loses everything she came back to rebuild, because some secrets were never meant to stay buried, and someone is willing to kill to keep them that way. End of that row. We can do this, we can do this. A Maypole of Deceit by Victoria Tate, fifth in the Cotswold Antique Mysteries. Spring is in full bloom in the Cotswolds, but someone is dancing rings around the truth. When a body is found tied to the maypole, sharp-eyed antiques expert Dottie Sayers can't ignore the mystery tangled up in a village's May Day celebrations. Alongside her cafe-owning friend Kia, Dottie begins pulling at the threads of the dead man's life. What they uncover is a web of financial deceit with victims far closer to home than either of them expected. But will revealing the betrayal destroy the very community they're fighting to protect? Mary says, are you happy with BritBox? I have held off because I can't decide between it and Acorn. Any thoughts about the two? I don't usually subscribe to BritBox, but I knew this Other Bennett Sisters miniseries was coming up and I wanted to watch it. I would make, there's only 3 episodes available right now, so if you wanted to hold off till they were all available, I might do that and then unsubscribe the next month or something. Cajun said, Mary, I like them both. They have different shows, but I have ones I like on each. Definitely a investment if these are things that you like. It's, you know, with streaming you get exactly what you like, not a whole bunch of other garbage like regular TV. Mary says, wow, 56 books and I can't come up with one. Impressive. And that is exactly my issue with them both, so I might just have to spring for both. Thanks for letting me know, Cajun. Yeah, you know, the nice thing is you can subscribe and unsubscribe as you like. I do that a lot with all of them. But also check your, I don't think the British ones are on there, but I just found out we are through Spectrum up here, and they have a whole bunch of channels that come with your Spectrum, like HBO, not that I watch a whole lot, Paramount Plus, ESPN, stuff like that. So you don't have to do those separately. It comes with your package. You might check out what's available there too. Hopeful in Texas by Diana Zarissa, 8th in the Midlife Crisis Mysteries. I'm Holly Parker, and I've been tackling my bucket list trying to visit all 50 states. It seems like a good idea after my 50th birthday when I had to face the fact that I wasn't getting any younger. But now, after 7 bucket list trips, each with its own murder investigation, I'm starting to lose hope that I'll be able to do any traveling that doesn't include at least one dead body. You know, if I were a law enforcement FBI type person, I'd be watching you. You're crossing states and finding bodies. My trip to Texas has a promising start when I end up sitting next to Jasmine Vaughn on the flight to Dallas. She's eager to chat, funny and full of interesting stories about her life. And she's more than happy to agree to do some sightseeing around Dallas with me, too. She just has to work around the various events taking place as part of her 40th high school reunion, which is the reason why she's making the trip to Dallas for the first time in decades. Everything seems to be going well until Jasmine suddenly stops answering my texts. I'm hesitant to report her missing. Maybe she simply got tired of my company. Isn't it hard to find some of her former classmates so that I can make a few discreet inquiries? No one will admit to knowing where she is, and most people don't seem at all concerned. Events from past year make it hard for me to remain hopeful in Texas, though. An Unlikely Heist by Gina X. Grant. 6th in the Unlikely Murder Club. The Unlikely Murder Club is back, and this time they're crossing a line. Agatha hadn't thought about that painting in years, not since her copy of the masterpiece Nora's Kisses earned her top marks at the world's only school for art forgers. Back then, she'd graduated with honors and gotten on with her life of crime. There's a school? She hadn't known someone swapped her fake for the real thing until now, because that long-forgotten forgery could send her back to prison, this time for good. Nora's Kisses is about to be appraised, and once the fake is exposed, Agatha's DNA is there in every brushstroke. She could run. She's done it before. But she'd have to leave everything behind, her rescue dog, her trusted friends, and the retired FBI agent who's somehow become the love of her life. So this time, Agatha makes a different choice. She's staying in Unlikely, even if it means asking the man who put her in prison to help her break the law. A school for forgers. Whiskered Revenge by Lucy Higgins. 4th in the Second Chance Rescue. Cozy Mysteries. When a retired Boston detective is found dead in Whisker Cove, the whole town assumes it's tied to the late Harriet Winslow's dangerous legacy, but Maggie Harper knows the truth is far more sinister. The murder investigator had discovered a glaring discrepancy in a 23-year-old police report about a teenager who accidentally drowned at the local granite quarry. 2 sets of footprints went to the water, but only one walked away. As Maggie digs into the decades-old tragedy, she realizes the killer isn't a shadowy stranger, it's someone the town trusts implicitly. With a killer desperate to keep their lifelong penance a secret, Maggie must race to uncover who else was at the quarry that night, even if the truth breaks the town's heart. Let's see, that was unfinished business. Yes, it was. End of that row. A Dead Heat. I turned off the alarm. We're going to do this. A Dead Heat. Poppy Bridgman is the author, 5th in the E.B. Eats Diner Mysteries. Nueva Vida's first mayoral election since a corruption scandal should have been a fresh start. Instead, it becomes a recipe for murder. When candidate Bradford Hayes collapses at a town hall meeting after eating poisoned campaign cookies, diner owner Eliza Burton knows this was no accident. The killer chose their method carefully, ensuring only Bradford would die despite everyone having access to the same refreshments. With the election in chaos and the community's trust shattered again, Eliza and her amateur sleuths discover Nueva Vida's picture-perfect candidates are hiding deadly secrets. Someone was desperate enough to kill to keep the truth buried, but they didn't count on a determined diner owner with a talent for detecting lies and a recipe for justice. In small-town politics, democracy can be murder. I bet they wrote the whole book so they could have that last punchline. Deadly Wickets by Laurie Hansen and Sharon Hansen. I bet they're related. 3rd in the Mysteria Way Mysteries. Life in Ever's Edge is never boring, often sleepy but never boring. It's spring, and in Ever's Edge that means the annual croquet tournament. Hosted by the town's biggest gossip, the event is a must for everyone in town. While normally a weekend of good family fun, chatter, and friendly rivalries, this year there's a deadly turn, one that puts Elvida Malloy in the spotlight, primed for the gossip she so happily dispenses. While all eyes are on Elvida, Did I just say it a different way? Seda Sedgwick isn't interested in the rumors surrounding the woman. She wants to know what happened. What events led to the fatal interruption of her first croquet tournament in Ever's Edge? She wants to know the truth about who wielded the deadly wickets. You don't always get what you want. You get what you need. Okay. The Bubbly Betrayal by Lynn Joseph, Knight in the Mermaid Bay Wine Mysteries. After solving a century-old wine mystery, Noelle Knight expected life to return to normal in Mermaid Bay, whatever that is. She's back to running her thriving wine shop with her best friend, Shanice, hosting her weekly Wine Down Wednesdays, enjoying pastries from the Buttercream Cafe, and kayaking with her boyfriend, Finn, and their black cat, Cabby, short for Cabernet. Then an invitation arrives from the tiny French village of Hauteville. Come investigate a champagne harvest gone wrong. Why? Yeah, of all the people, France sounds like the perfect vacation. Croissant, cold bubbly, a little adventure. And best of all, Finn can come too. So can Cabby. The cat is non-negotiable. But when Noelle arrives, she finds more than sparkling wine and scenic charm. A prominent figure connected to the historic Domaine Perron Abbey has turned up dead. Suspicion is flying in every direction, and the local gendarmerie seems far too willing to let an outsider take the lead and the blame. So why did they ask her? Noelle soon discovers that small towns are the same everywhere, charming on the surface, complicated underneath. Her father did say, "Follow the wine." That's all there is. And that is all there is. We got it. We got it all. We read them all. Woo! All right. Kay just says, I love the beret on the cat. I bet that was a fight. And hope you all have a good day. I may nap later because I can. Yes, you can. Enjoy it. And Kay says, you got them all. I did. I did. All right. Well, I'm going to go have my Friday. Hope you guys have a good one. Enjoy yourselves. Read good books. And as the banner says here, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Nom nom. Have a good day and God bless. Mary says, you did it! Congratulations! Hope everyone has a great weekend and Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to the mothers, even if you're a fur mother. If appropriate or not. Absolutely. Back at you, baby. Have a good day.